Hello everyone, welcome back to a very special video about living organ donation. I myself donated my left kidney back on August 29th, 2024, 1 year ago today, on my 25th birthday actually. And I donated to a good friend and coworker of mine, Todd Handy. At the end of this video, I do kind of a sit-down talk interview style with him about his journey and everything he went through to kind of show some awareness. But I also am, at the beginning part of this, going to share my own story. I vlogged a little bit. Some parts I didn't do as well vlogging as I wanted to. Just kind of got busy with life. So I'm going to insert myself here and there during the video. But I hope you enjoy, and please go ahead and donate and listen to our story. So prior to donation, I had to do a lot of tests. It did take a long time, and that's mostly because just of how many tests there were and how busy I was in life. I had to initially go in and do labs for, blood draws, and I forget how much it was. It was a lot. I think they had to do like 24 different tests. So they had to draw several vials, probably 8 vials of my blood, and do a bunch of different tests on that to make sure, one, I'm compatible, healthy, no diseases, no, anything that could be transferred to a recipient in the future. I then also did an EKG. I don't remember all the technical names of everything that I did, but I did have to provide quite a few urine samples, probably 3, I think, total before, one just small initial sample to see how my kidneys were doing, if they were healthy. I had to go in as well and do several x-rays. They had to give me some dye that they put into my system, and then do a whole, I don't know if it was a CAT scan. I think it was a CAT scan. And it's like the dye, so then they can glow up and see the actual kidney, and basically then I think see how everything was flowing, blood flow within my body as well. And that was a very interesting experience. And I almost forgot to mention, with this contrast, it was a really weird feeling because they did warn me that I might, start experiencing some symptoms, and what I experienced is pretty common. I had to feel like I had to pee, or that I was peeing. I don't know why. I did start getting warm, and I felt a lot warmer once they put an IV in my arm. Once it started going in there, my body started feeling warmer for sure. But then I also felt like my pants were wet. I had peed myself. I definitely felt like I had to pee the whole time. And it's so strange because you're there for, quite a bit of time. I think I was maybe down there for 15, 20 minutes or something like that. But once it was over though, yeah, all that sensation went away immediately. And it was such a strange feeling. One of the more interesting things I had to do was take a 24-hour urine collection sample, which basically I get a big jug and I pee into it over the next 24 hours. During that 24-hour one, I didn't drink during it. I don't think I drank the day before or whatnot, but they could tell, obviously, I had some high alcohol in my levels, and I mean that affects a bunch of different things. And so my coordinator actually reached out to me and was like, hey, we saw that these levels were high. Did you do anything? And I was like, yeah, I drank a little bit. And they're like, oh, okay. So then I think I had to provide another urine sample, just a smaller one, not a 24-hour one, just to make sure that everything was good. And then I had to do another blood draw and urine sample the week prior to the actual operation that we had set. Once we finally got a date, you do all these tests beforehand, and then once they say, all right, you're good to go, we'll schedule it, and then they make one final blood draw and urine sample in order to make sure that everything is actually still good. Because I did this over a year. So I talked to Todd back in April of 2023. So this was a long journey. And then actually a year and a half, I guess, because 2023 of April, and then we didn't have the surgery until August of 2024. The living organ donor program within the U.S. is very, very good, I believe, from my personal experience, and it was very smooth. So honestly, like, you know, they were very accommodating, very helpful, very understanding of my time. They were actually just kind of more worried about me being like, well, you're 24, you know, you're really young to be wanting to do this. Are you sure? But I will say it was nice that I was accommodated for a lot of things. I didn't have to pay for any of the appointments or anything like that. No, no money came out of my pocket. They were able to reimburse me for gas as well. You know, that was my choice if I wanted to do that. Didn't have to. If you don't want to be reimbursed, you don't have to be. I very much encourage you guys, if you're, you know, able to do so, at least go just test out and see if you are. And you don't have to donate your organs, but, you know, even blood and plasma is enough. All right. Well, good morning. It's very early. It's 4 something right now. I'm running a little bit behind. So, my girlfriend Kelsey, she popped her tire because she was taking care of some stuff. Dropping off the kids and whatnot, and here I am. It's 4:18 currently. I have to be at the hospital at 5:30 because we are donating our kidney today. So now the journey in the hospital, that was an endeavor. I only spent 3 days total in the hospital. First day was surgery. That was quite a lot. Yeah, just walking through these empty halls was a little, you know, daunting a little bit. Just kind of like, you know, you're preparing and getting ready to do something. So it finally like kind of started setting in of what I was about to do, going up to the surgery, up to the the registration office, essentially. Once I'm all gowned up and ready, then they, you know, walk me back to the room where I'm the operating room. This was a like white room that was super bright, like lights everywhere, and I just remember seeing like all these people around me. Like I don't know how many nurses, probably like 5 or 6 nurses in there, gowned up, and then obviously we had an anesthesiologist and the doctor as well that was performing my surgery. I remember I used the robot. It was like the Da Vinci robot. Essentially, the doctor is able to kind of maneuver that robot and make less invasive, you know, movements and whatnot inside the body as opposed to using actual hands, which can make recovery a lot easier, which I think it was, you know, and Todd and I talk about that a little bit in our differences in the interview later. But I just remember going, you know, laying down, having all these nurses around me, kind of checking up on me, and then they put the oxygen mask on me, and that's when the, you know, anesthesiologist comes in, telling me everything, you know, making sure like everything's gonna be good and making sure I understand, you know, what's gonna happen. And honestly, within like 10 seconds maybe, I'm out. I just remember the mask being on, looking up, and then fading to black, essentially. And then after that, next thing I know, I'm waking up in another room with a bunch of random people around me that I don't know. They're waking up from, you know, their surgeries or whatever's going on. And, you know, a nurse comes and verifying I remember, you know, kind of gauging where I'm at in the wake up process. Like, do I know my name? Do I know where I'm at? What day it was? And I remember answering it, but it is strange because it did feel like a foggy dream almost. Like when I just woke up and she's asking me these, I was like, yeah, like, you know, answering them to the best of my ability. And I know roughly that I'm supposed to answer this and like I know what the answer is, but it was like kind of hard to get out almost. Kind of like how I talked there. That's what I remember it being like. But it was a little jarring at that point because, you know, no one was with me. My girlfriend Kelsey brought me to the hospital and she wasn't there. I was just a bunch of random people. And I would have gone back sooner. However, that nurse at the time, this is probably the only semi-negative experience that I had throughout my whole journey. It wasn't even really that bad, but one of the nurses that was kind of tending to me at the time, she was asking it if I was how like my pain level was, and if I needed some something to help with that, and I was like, yeah, I was feeling a little bit hurt, but I was still waking up, so the numbness wasn't there fully. But she got one of the bags, and then something happened. Like, I think she dropped it or messed up the needle that was supposed to hook up to my IV. And so then she was like, oh, I gotta order another one. And then that took like another 20 minutes or something like that. I didn't know the passage of time. It felt like that. But I think I was in there total for maybe like an hour waiting to go back, and while she was like hooking me all up with everything, because she had to order another bag, and then that bag, I think there was just something wrong with it, and then she had to get a third bag, and finally by that time I was able to, she was able to hook me up, and then I was able to leave and go back to my actual like room where I'd be staying for the rest of the time at the hospital.
Guys, I am so close to farting. I can feel it. Which is a good thing. Basically, that's like one of the things that happens after surgery and being on all the anesthesia and stuff. Like, gases and stuff don't move as well through your system, so it just kind of, the bowel movements aren't as good. So once I fart, it's like doing good. Also gonna get the catheter removed soon, which I'm very happy about because I hate that thing. And also gonna try to walk today. I feel like if I don't fart before that, I should probably fart during walking. So I'll let you know.
Second day come around, I'm feeling a little bit better, more awake, more active, making like short little walks here and there. And I actually went and visited Todd in his room and saw him, and he was very surprised because he was not in walking shape yet. And I also still had like the catheter in and everything, which is just felt really strange.
Oh, I'm doing like a little vlog. We're getting the catheter removed right now. So we're gonna see how this goes. Never had one inserted and never had one removed, so a whole new experience.
You nervous?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, I was more worried about the catheter than the actual surgery.
Yeah, most people are. You ready?
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah.
Whenever they give you your bath, I'll let them take that sticker off.
Okay.
Snatching all your hair off.
Cool. Yeah, that was not comfortable. It was quick, but not painless. It wasn't like horrible, but it was just like this weird burning sensation that just like immediately comes out. I guess. I don't know. Gonna get a shot in my belly. And what was this called?
Lovenox.
Lovenox. Well, we're gonna see how this feels.
Two.
Okay, not so bad.
This stings a little bit, but it should go away.
Well, doing a lot of firsts on this trip. First time I ever had a catheter, first time getting a shot in the belly, all that stuff. First surgery. So, I have 6 hours to kind of pee on my own now that the catheter's been removed, and This is my my little urinal thing, and it kind of made me a tour of the room. This is like hospital. I got hooked up to that. Got some PCA going through my veins. I think I said Dilaudid earlier, and that was wrong. But yeah, got PCA. This is the pain stuff. Eventually, today they said the Dr. Powelson's team came in and just now, and they were talking about today is more about seeing if I can pass gas. Overall pain is good. I can pee. Those types of things. They said I'm still a little bit bloated, so hopefully, yeah. And I'm sorry. I look so exhausted. It's because I am. I'm tired. It is a struggle staying awake right now. Well, I'll let you update on the next little set of events that we got going on. Also, I don't know if I remember saying this, but the reason my voice is so bad is because the anesthesia, just the gas, usually leaves your throat a little dry. But yeah, well, hopefully I'll be walking soon.
But by day 3, I was up and about. I even remember going for a walk by myself, kind of, roaming the halls. I think I took the elevator as well, went down and checked out the food, and then kind of came back up all on my own, which was kind of cool. It was a lot of fun. So this is day 3 in the hospital. I had my surgery Thursday, and then Friday it was just more recovery, trying to see how I'm doing, and today is Saturday, and I finally pooped. So that's good. Yesterday, it was kind of like, after we took out the catheter, I was trying to see how my bowel movements were going to go. I did not all day until they gave me a suppository, which the nurse stuck a little pill up my booty hole. And then I went to the bathroom and I farted. I passed gas, but I did not poop or anything. And then later at night, after a shift change, they gave me, more medication, gave me a stool softener, which helped. I felt things moving around. And then, that I farted a lot more. And then just now, like 10, 20 minutes ago, I finally pooped. So it's good. Hopefully it's the last thing for the hospital. I think I should be able to get discharged soon. Just kind of waiting, see whenever they come back in, let them know. Okay, so I kind of forgot to vlog a little bit. I got discharged from the hospital the day that I pooped, so that was the 3rd day. Second day after recovery, really. And yeah, I've been doing okay, got some Tramadol to help with pain, and then I forgot some other pill to kind of help with moving everything in my bowels and whatnot, basically. But yeah, I'm able to walk. I just took a shower, but yeah, it's really not that bad. And if you're able to do it, I'd do it. But I'm gonna check back in with you guys in probably 3 or 4 weeks from now when I have my next checkup, and then we'll see how it goes from there. For the first 12 weeks, it was kind of rough. I couldn't drive for the first 8. I wasn't supposed to. I do remember just, if I had the pee, it hurt. And I knew I had the pee. When you can hold your bladder, you can control it, but I could not for probably a few weeks. And I was on a weight restriction for a while, but honestly, it went fine. I wasn't supposed to lift more than, I think, 10 or 15 pounds for the first 8 weeks. And then the following 4 after that, I wasn't supposed to lift more than 30. Now, I have twin boys. We had just had them earlier that year in January. And, 9 months later in August, right, or 8 months. Well, yeah, 8 months. They're about 15 pounds each. So I was like, yeah, well, we can't just carry them. And I mean, my girlfriend Kelsey obviously helped, but twins are a lot. If anyone has twins, they are a big deal, and it's a lot to carry them around, and I can't just, let one person do all of that. After 8 weeks, then I started driving again, and felt normal, totally fine. Nothing really happened, and by 12, I went back to work. Post surgery for me, I'm doing, just living my life completely fine. So if anyone's worried about that, don't be. If you're worried about it, like, I did okay, and there's a really high % chance for people to just kind of go back to being normal. Even throughout my journey, they were telling me, is like, yeah, I mean, a kidney donation, honestly, you're basically able to live a very normal life afterward. And I have been. There's nothing I felt like that has been different, like my lifestyle at all, even with my eating and drinking. I, did a whole Best Warrior competition for the Army, which is very physically demanding. I, went to Zion National Park and hiked Angel's Landing with my girlfriend. We also did the Narrows. We did, bike rides. We did a bunch of different stuff there. I would be running out on the street, just kind of with my dog and whatnot, or pushing the kids around a wheelbarrow. Also went underground hiking in an underground cave, like a 4-hour one. Now, the big thing I will say, right, that's going to affect you long term, and this was things I wasn't even aware of, but you have to watch protein levels, right? Everyone thinks about drinking, obviously, and stuff like that. Like, you gotta watch what you intake, but we don't think about also our food. Depending on your size of your body and everything, like, you can only take so much protein in. And especially with one kidney, they were like, look, that's very harsh on your kidney, so you can only consume so much. And I think my limit is like 60 or 70 grams or something like that of protein a day, which, in all honesty, I'm not really, like, I would keep track of it. Like, I know that if it's like, something like, I'm personally, vegan, so I do eat, like, a lot of that plant-based stuff is really high in protein because of how much soy and stuff in or other types of substitutes are in there. But I do watch that, and if I'm like eating a burger that's got like 13 grams of protein, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, well, we'll watch that. But I definitely don't do protein drinks or anything like that. And honestly, physically speaking, I haven't like really lost a whole lot of weight. I was like 140 or 145 when I donated, and then I did go back. I went down a little bit initially just because of the recovery. I think I went down to 125, and now I'm kind of sitting at like 135, which, I mean, to me is kind of where I personally ideally want to be anyways. And I mean, I feel fine physically. I don't feel like I've lost any muscle mass or anything like that, and I can work out just fine. And I haven't really had any problems since the initial recovery, really, from just working out. The other thing, can't take any NSAIDs, so those are like, blood thinners and stuff like that, such as like Advil and other prescription medications. So that's the only thing I really have to be aware of. But Tylenol is fine, but there's a lot of other ones that I can't take. They recommend that, they say that, like, they give you sheets, information sheets with all this stuff, like telling you like, hey, living with one kidney and how that is. And they're on there, they always say like, you could probably take one, if you really needed to, but we recommend that you don't at all. So that was my journey and kind of the things I went through and some things to look out for. Please go donate if you're able to, or, encourage others to go do so, or do whatever you can. There'll be a bunch of links down below. But yeah, that's enough about me. So I hope you enjoy kind of sitting down with my recipient here, Todd Handy, and hearing about his story. Hey guys, welcome Todd Handy here. This is my recipient for kidney donation. Beginning part of this video, you saw kind of my vlog and my journey, and now we're going to sit with Todd here and discuss a little bit more of what he went through. You know, we'll touch on some of the stuff I also went through as well. How are you doing?
Sam, to be honest, I am so glad that we have this opportunity to do this video, especially after transplant.
Yeah.
I can definitely say that this man has been my hero. I can definitely probably say, just going back to 2023, I know that seems like quite a while for both of us.
A while. That's like 2 years ago. No, it was more than that because it was April, right?
I think
it was April 2023 because I had just gotten back from like some military duty. I was gone for 3 months, spent that time in Georgia.
Right.
And I just gotten back at like the end of March. No, I gotten back like on the March, like the last day of March, and then I didn't start work till like April like 4th, I don't think. Yeah. I didn't even know that you went through like dialysis and all that stuff.
Actually, my story is I was on, I can actually say I was on dialysis for about 7 years. And during that time, I finally got on the transplant list for 3 years of those 7 years. And just the whole dialysis alone, I mean, it's I can definitely say it drains a person, just mentally, physically, just making time for those treatments. You know, even before Sam decided to donate his kidney, I can definitely say that my fiance, Sarah Doubles, she was the one that was taking me to and from, you know, to all my appointments there at DaVita Dialysis. And then leading up to actually myself and Sam, you know, just having a general conversation like we are right now. O positive is actually my blood type.
That's medical stuff. Todd, yes. Come on now.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm just joking.
O positive was my blood is my blood type, and I just actually was sitting kind of like myself and Sam are right now there at the cafeteria.
Yeah.
At Baxter. I don't think
was it Baxter still?
I think it might have.
Yeah, it was because we didn't transition to Symmetra until 2024, I think, technically. Todd and I work together at a biopharma, well, a pharmaceutical like manufacturing plant, essentially. Yeah. And you know, we worked together for like 2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years. Yeah,
before, right? Like 2 years, I think, before.
And I was definitely still going through the whole dialysis and all. And
yeah, I didn't even realize that you had been on dialysis for that long.
Yes.
You would always, so we had the gown up and go into these clean rooms all the time.
Yes.
And you would just be like, oh, gotta pee. And I'm like, what the heck? And people are like, oh, that's just Todd. And I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't realize that there was like something more behind that. Obviously knew that was a little like, you know, concerning maybe, you know, like it's just something I'm just like, oh, that's a little weird, but whatever, I don't care. So you were on dialysis for 7 years before the donation?
Yes.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yes.
Can you kind of, how did that start? Like, how did you how did you find out that you had your kidney problems?
I can probably go back. I am going back quite a lot to maybe, I think, 2017, 2018, I believe.
Dang. That's when I joined the Army.
I was out of the Marine Corps, 2007. So, and while I was in Marine Corps, I mean, I was perfectly healthy, perfectly fine. This really didn't actually develop until I'd say about the time that I finished working there at Townsend Tree Service. There would be evenings that I would get home actually and have Sarah, my fiance, take my boots off, take my pants off and stuff, because I was so swollen, I guess you could say, just from my kidneys starting to shut down.
Jeez.
And
like that, just kind of like that blood flow wasn't really working too well.
Water retention and all that.
Okay.
And while working there, at the tree company, I was definitely outdoors, getting in all the elements and stuff, rain, sleet, snow, shine. And of course, like I said, getting home, I could not bend down to take off my boots because they were so swollen.
Jeez.
And even my ankles were so swollen. And I started to develop lupus, the whole butterfly effect. I was getting that.
Can you discuss like what lupus is? You don't have to go in detail, but like a lot of these medical terms, I'm not familiar with, and some of people watching might not be.
Gosh, I really can't actually
Oh no, you're okay. It's fine.
medically say what lupus is, but I know it was just my kidneys were definitely starting to shut down, and everything on my body just hurt. My joints, they would start hurting. My hands would like tighten up just at an instant. I got actually had a first blood clot behind my knee, and then had a second one with my whole entire left leg. And I think it was the second one. That's kind of when I had 13 doctors, that
wow.
pretty much could not determine what was wrong with the patient, Todd Handy.
And so you had to like kind of jump around to different doctors, like figuring out, hey, what's going on here.
Yes.
See, I've never really had any like medical issues like that, so I've never had to do that. I've heard like stories of like that, like where you have to go to several different people. So do you have to go to different types of doctors as well?
It all kind of did start whenever I was at Family Medicine of Cloverdale, there in Putnam County. And even my nurse practitioner, Kaylin Sundin, she was even, beside herself. And she was actually asking the doctor there at Family Medicine of Cloverdale, is like, look, I do not know what is wrong with this patient. But Kaylin was very determined, and I can definitely say that as another, doctor, a nurse practitioner, that I can go back and definitely thank as well. Actually, to be honest, all my thanks is to this individual right here. But leading up to, my hero, Sam here.
It's gonna make me blush the whole time.
There were many others that kind of were on my side and trying to help me out, trying to figure out, what is actually wrong with him. But after the 13 doctors, they had said that, we believe, this is lupus. And again, that was, kind of the whole, the butterfly effect around my nose, kind of the symptoms that I was going through, my joints tightening up. And it was pretty much my body telling me that, look, you're having problems with your kidneys. But the whole thing through all this, they never actually really did say, it's your left kidney, it's your right kidney.
Oh, okay.
Because I was always asked.
They just kind of thought that it was just maybe just your kidneys weren't functioning well, but they didn't realize that like you needed to go on dialysis yet.
Right.
Okay, so then how long did it was it until you discovered that you needed to be on dialysis?
Probably say it was during COVID.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fun.
Because during COVID, I think that's whenever my body actually really did shut down.
Okay.
Because I remember I had this persistent cough that I could not get rid of. And they kept putting me on the doctors and all these other places that we went to. They kept putting me on these things called cough pearls. It was just pretty much like candy for me that I'm taking. And it wasn't working.
Yeah.
And actually, I ended up going down to Putnam County Hospital there in Cloverdale, Greencastle, Indiana area. And I remember going back to the ER room. And this was the funny thing here. This is how I know you can get into the emergency room real quick. You say that you're having chest pains.
Oh, okay.
They hear that, they're like, you get immediately moved to the top, it seems like.
Well,
So,
I mean, yeah.
Word to the wise, if you want to get to the emergency room, say chest pains and you'll
You're
get
gonna
right
cause
in.
like a whole phenomenon now. It's gonna be like everyone's saying chest pain.
Yes. So word to the wise, if you want to get into the emergency room, say that and you'll get right on in. On a serious note, when I did get back to the emergency room, Sarah, my fiance, she was actually unable to go back with me. So I didn't actually have anybody to speak on my behalf.
And you couldn't really like talk or breathe too well,
I could not
right?
even make a complete sentence to actually tell the doctor and the nurse, what was wrong with me. So in their mind, they're thinking, this patient has COVID.
Oh.
And I literally
yeah.
can honestly say I got kicked out of the hospital.
Wow.
So I'm coming out of the emergency room with no assistance. We ended up calling back to Kaylin Sundin there at Family Medicine of Cloverdale. And she, thankfully, was the one that reached out to the hospital and said, please, draw these tests, do these tests, draw these blood draws.
Do like these labs and whatnot, yeah.
Do these labs, yes. And funny thing was, myself and Sarah, we drive all the way back from Putnam County to Monroe County.
That's like an hour or something?
It was about an hour,
Yeah.
yes. Thankfully, Kaylin reached out to Sarah via cell phone and pretty much told her, please take Todd to the closest ER that you can find. His body is currently shutting down so much that his blood levels are very low.
Oh wow.
He's pretty much, to be honest, say I probably could have, passed away. Thankfully, with Kaylin doing what in her mind was the correct thing to do. Thankfully, I was actually sent to the new IU hospital here in Bloomington, Indiana.
Yeah.
Their ER room, and again, same thing. Chest pains. You get right to the top, of course. Chest pains, breathing, and all that stuff, and so. Once I got into the ER room there at Bloomington Hospital, that's kind of whenever they started me on the dialysis. I had a catheter actually inserted into my neck. I've gone through actually 2 catheters through this whole journey. I had a peritoneal catheter as well that was put in my abdomen. I currently still have an active working fistula here in my left arm here.
Oh, okay.
That was, it all led up to me being on in-home dialysis.
So I do remember that, like you kind of leaving a little bit. Again, it was in between me like going on military leave and stuff like that. But yeah, because we worked on seconds for a while,
Yes.
and then I eventually moved to first shift, and I think you were still on seconds, right? You were still working.
I think I was still on second shift.
Yeah,
yes.
and then I think that's when I like left, or it might have been the bond leave that I took for the boys. I can't remember.
May have been. Yeah.
But yeah, then found out that you were, you had to like go on home dialysis, and then we were talking. I was like, whoa, what the heck?
Right.
What's that about? And then kind of leading up, then we finally went on, or no, that might have been that military leave that we were talking about when we met in the cafeteria.
Yep.
And that was
may have
in
been.
yeah, and that was in April of 2023.
Like I said, we were just sitting there in the cafeteria together and just making again conversation with Sam. I was like, I'm looking for somebody that's O positive blood type because I'm needing a kidney transplant.
Yeah.
And Sam actually even said, well, Todd, I'm O positive.
Yes,
give me all the information, and I had, I'm not kidding, a folder at least of all of this information to give to a possible donor. And to be honest, Sam, I did not think that you were going to be the one that was selected because you had a lot going on. I mean, the boys as well, plus your military, your commitment to the military and all.
It is funny because, I always get the question of, why did you donate? And I'm just like, I don't really always know how to answer that because I'm just, I don't know. I'm trying to be modest, but also, like in a little bit humble, but also like realistic. I'm just like, I don't know. That's just the kind of person I am. I understand what donation is, and like I know that I'm gonna be okay with one kidney.
Yeah.
And yes, that's not for everybody, increased risk, whatever, all that stuff. And there's like certain things I have to avoid and keep track of, but for my lifestyle, I was already like, that wasn't a big worry for me. But yeah, I do remember sitting there in the cafeteria and you were saying that, and it is funny because like, yeah, I do remember like we were just on break and I think maybe like shut down or like the plant was like not a whole lot going on because we were in that cafeteria for like an hour or two. Yeah. Well-deserved break, right?
Yes.
But don't get that no more.
No,
usually.
we don't. No.
But yeah, it was funny because yeah, you were talking about that and I just heard your story and I was just like, oh my God, like that's crazy. But then yeah, when you mentioned the O positive thing, I was like,
yes.
And really the only reason I even know I'm O positive is because of the military. And I'm surprised how many people don't know. Look,
That's
if
true.
you should know what your blood type is. Like just in an emergency or anything,
That's
you
true.
should figure it out because it is very important, especially if you have any medical stuff going on, right?
Yep, exactly.
But yes, yeah, you mentioned you're O positive. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm O positive. I was like, I remember taking a little bit of a pause before I said it, but I didn't feel reluctant, I don't think. I was just like, well, I could donate to you.
Yeah.
Like, you want to see? Because I was like, you want to see if we would work and match. And yeah, and then I remember you discussed with me a little bit of, let me talk to, was it Sarah again, or
well, of course, yeah,
coordinator?
We mentioned this to Sarah, and Sarah, my fiance, she was definitely on board with it. But there was still a little bit of a hesitation because, again, we're thinking that Sam is contracted to the Army. And I'm thinking,
whatever.
There is no way his command is going to let him do something like this. I can honestly say we kind of wrote Sam off, that we were not going to get, you know, an actual possible donor from Sam here. But again, leading up to 2024, just getting back to work, actually, we were, I think, coming off of Christmas, New Year's break. Got back to work there in January 2024 and made it almost to the end of the month. And I'm told that I have appendicitis. We did get the appendix out successfully, but having that peritoneal catheter in my abdomen, when I was healing, the scarring tissue that was, I guess, inside my abdomen had walled up into the peritoneal catheter. So that had to be taken out. I think that was maybe, gosh, I'm thinking March time frame-ish. And then I had the second catheter put into my neck. So again, going back to the beta dialysis again. And during all this time, I'm actually starting on short-term disability through Lincoln Financial. I had one real good case manager, Heather Bosrin. And actually come to find out, Heather was
she was my coordinator too, because it was so I remember the phone call because and we're kind of jumping back and forth here, but when I was calling for my leave to do, you know, like some short-term disability for kidney donation, it was Heather that picked up the phone, and she was like, and I remember I was, you know, talking about, I was like, yeah, I'm doing my kidney, blah blah blah, and she's like, oh. And she's like, is it to a coworker at Simtra? And I was like, yes. And she's like, oh, I'm working with the other guy. I was like, oh, okay. You know, because like there's a whole HIPAA and confidentiality and stuff like that. And look, the doctors and everything have to do their part. But it is funny because like we already knew each other and we know we're like the ones going to be donated. Although you didn't know yet, right?
I did not know it was you, Sam. No.
Right. So I was kind of curious about that because my process, like, and I kind of talked about in this video, and I can kind of go a little bit into it, but yeah, I had to do so many tests. Did you have to go through all these tests as well?
I probably did. I went through so many tests. To be honest, I was a human pin cushion all last year, and just this year alone, I have to go and do a blood draw every 2 weeks here at our hospital, IU Health Bloomington. You know, do your analysis just to make sure that the kidney is still working. And thankfully, the kidney is still working.
Well, that's good.
I can't think of any 25-year-old out there that would think, I know what I'm going to do with my birthday. You know, donate my kidney. I can definitely go back to say that, you know, what you did has definitely gave me a second chance on life.
The reason it took me so long to get like all this stuff is because all those, like, I had to set up appointments, and then it was hard to set up appointments while I was doing military stuff, because I would do like, you know, trainings or some missions and whatnot, and I'd be gone for like a month or something like that, or a few weeks at a time. But I'd be like, well, when can I schedule this, because I'm going to be gone for a month? And they're like, oh, okay, well, when you come back. And yeah, there's some interesting ones, like I had to do the 24 urine sample, and then it was funny because I did drink a little bit while I was doing that sample. So they were like, oh, your alcohol levels are a little, you know, your levels are a little high. And they're like, were you drinking? I was like, yeah. And they're like, well, can you provide another sample? I was like, oh, okay. So my fault too, I added some extra.
That's fine.
I should have taken better care of it, but you know, I was like, oh, you know, I'm not gonna be able to drink as much from now on. Not that really it's that much of a difference, and I don't get, you know, drunk anymore.
It's a good kidney.
The funny part though, that I think while I'm doing all this in 2024, when I came back from my bond leave after I had the boys, I came back to work and people were like, Sam, are you like, you still, you know, I think it might have been Keller or something, one of our other co-workers there at Simtra. He was mentioning, he's like, you know, Todd's making T-shirts, finding the kidney
yes.
donation, and they were asking me, "Like, are you still donating?" I was like, "Yeah, what the heck?" And I think I called you, and I was like, "Todd, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
And yeah, you were surprised that I was still going through it. I was like, "Sorry, it is taking a long time," which it did. I think abnormally long, maybe per my chance. I gotta say, those doctors, every single time, everybody, and it wasn't just the doctor, every visit I had, every, I talked to the doctor, I talked to a coordinator, I had to talk to a consultant, I forget what it was, but I had like 3 different people every single time always asking me on every single appointment, either pre and post like appointments, and then so much paperwork asking me, like making sure I'm okay with it. I'm just like, yeah, I'm good. And I get it, like whole legal stuff and everything like that. Even one of the doctors I went to, he was like, hey, look, you just had twins and you're very young, like are you sure you want to donate? Like, it's okay if you want to take a little bit break and wait till, like another year or something like that. And I was like, no, I'm okay. Like, this guy's been waiting. Well, you were on a wait list for what? Like, they said like 8 years or something like that?
It was 8 years that I was on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
I don't know where I got the 3 years. It was 8 years. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, because I remember that was part of the discussion in the cafeteria. That's what blew my mind. I think that was maybe the trigger point for me. That was like, well, yeah, I'm going to donate because this is stupid. Like, you said like 8 to 10 years, I think, something like that. Yes. I was like, what? A wait list for that long for a kidney? And I was like, you might not even make it to that, if your dialysis just isn't keeping up. And I was just like, oh my God, that's insane.
O positive, that's, I think, what the whole basis for the kidney transplant. And I guess all the other blood types, you could probably be able to have a kidney transplant, AB negative, positive, whatever. But O positive, I guess just the O blood type, it's going to be at least max between 8 to 10 years.
That's crazy. Donate.
Donate, yes, definitely. I wish that Sam...
I know, I couldn't find my shirt.
Could have found his shirt, but yeah, these were available at the shop there at University Hospital, Indianapolis. When you see somebody with this shirt on, you're like, oh my gosh. I wonder if this is actually the recipient or the donor. And when I'm able to provide my story to, on behalf of Sam, people pretty much say that, oh my gosh, I just got goosebumps. I remember, us getting back to the Veterans Day program there at Simtra.
Yes, that's right.
And, oh my goodness, we pretty much had a hush, literally, amongst other veterans when I stood up and said, I think my story, about...
he embarrassed me in front of everybody.
I did, yeah. I think my story pretty much in here tops everyone's stories that they have about their time while they were in service in the military and all. I said, this veteran right here donated his kidney to me. And like I said, again, it was like a hush. I think there was some that maybe had clapped.
So what we're talking about here is that at our work, they do celebrate veterans, and we had like a Veterans Day kind of meal. They kind of invite all the veterans from our work and give us a free meal, a little like kind of 1 hour, break, lunch kind of thing, the talk. We all shared like, who we are and like, introduce ourselves and
what branch you were in, what rank you were in, and what you do while you were in the service.
Yeah, and then Todd obviously gets up and gives his whole speech.
I embarrassed him, but hey. I mean, I can definitely say that I don't believe any veteran that was sitting in there amongst us would be like, oh my gosh, that's a story.
Now kind of going into, we've done a lot of the pre-operation stuff. Now, so hospital time, you've had to go in early, right? Before me, because they had to take prepare you first.
Oh, actually, you.
Oh no! It was me first.
Yes.
Yeah, because
I went back first.
Yeah, so I had to go in with Kelsey. She's my girlfriend right now, mother of our lovely 3 children, and luckily we had somebody to watch the kids while we were donating, and I had her come with me to act as support, which I really appreciated. And yeah, I had to go in, I forget, I don't even remember what time it was, but it was early, like early. Maybe like 5 or 6 a.m. or something like that. Those feelings when before you do something, you're just like, okay, cool, like whatever, we're doing this, and then now game time happens, and now it's like, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
I want to kind of more discuss like what was like for you in the hospital and how that went.
I can definitely say, again, not knowing that Sam was my donor, when Sarah and I got up to University Hospital and we're doing all the surgery requirements, I had to go in and do 13 blood draws. And I think the next test was an x-ray. I remember sitting out with Sarah there in the waiting room, and I look over and I see Sam standing there at one of the self-check-in kiosks. And even Sarah had said, now you do realize that as we're going up here, we may see, your donor up there in the waiting room. So just look for somebody that we may know from Bloomington or, Spencer, Owen County, or, some other area that possible we could recognize. I remember standing up and with Sarah walking over and, hey, Sam, what are you doing up here? I had asked you, I said, are you by chance going to be here Thursday morning at 5 a.m.?
Yeah.
Because that was, I think that Monday that we went up. And he goes, yes. And it just dawned on me that, oh my gosh, this is my donor, and I'm going to be getting a successful, very healthy kidney from one of my coworkers and one of my best friends there that I work with.
Best friend. Oh, I'm touched.
So, yeah. 05 in the morning, of course, getting there, and actually getting there to the transplant wing, you can definitely see that there's not just kidney donors. There was, I think, a liver donor, liver recipient, pancreas. There may have been a heart transplant patient there as well. So it's not just centered around kidney donation, it's organ donation, plain and simple. I had a very good doctor, Dr. Goggins. Dr. Goggins, I'm actually friends with the doctor, to be honest, on Facebook. So I can actually go out and say to anyone that, yes, I'm friends with my kidney doctor on Facebook.
Yeah.
And
I always found it interesting that they had two different doctors. Like the one,
right.
I forget. I'm not friends with my doctor.
My doctor loved to use the F word.
Oh yeah.
Loved to drop the F-bombs. And he didn't care who was in the room. Child.
Just imagine during like surgery, he's like, fuck.
That's how the man is. He's very, very blunt, very, very forward. And if he sees anything out of the ordinary or anything that may not make this kidney transplant a success, I believe he's the one that probably will shut it down.
They put you under anesthesia for yours too, right?
Oh, yes.
I don't remember. It was like maybe 8 a.m. or something like that, or 9 when I went back there to like start the surgery, and then anesthesia happened, and the next thing I know, I'm waking up. I don't know what time it was, I don't think, but I was there for a while until I actually went back to the actual like a room. And that was probably like 12:30 or 1 o'clock, so it was quite a bit. But have you ever been under anesthesia before?
Not as much compared to actually going through for surgery.
So can you discuss like how that was, or kind of how did that feel?
I just remember.
I'm just curious.
After waking up, I had Sarah in the room. I had my mom and dad, my sister, and my aunt and uncle in there as well for recovery.
Okay.
And I do not remember anything that I said. I could have said anything, and it would have been taken as oh, he's talking. And
so you don't remember waking up with like other patients around you?
No.
You were in just your room already.
He's in the room already.
See, that's crazy because I woke up with all these other random people, and
Really?
Kelsey wasn't allowed back there yet. So I do remember that, waking up there, and then they were supposed to give me some like pain meds. You wake up, friends and family, and you were in the hospital for how long?
Closer to a week. You weren't in very long.
I left on like day 3 or 4, I think, which is what they normally said. And it's just mostly the anesthesia, like getting all my systems going. Because honestly, like the pain wasn't there I did for like, a couple months and subsided. And obviously I still have scarring and stuff like that. And sometimes phantom pains, but that's not like anything like major, I
think your incision was maybe like not even an inch, 2 inches maybe.
Yeah.
Mine, 7.5 inches. Yours was less invasive compared to me.
They didn't do the robot for you,
No,
right?
No, you had the robot.
It's probably because they only had the one robot, maybe. I remember seeing that when I went into the surgery room because all the lights and everything.
Yeah.
I wish I could have recorded it because I see it in my mind, and it is like, it is just wild. It was such a white room, and I saw the robot, and it's freaking huge. It's like massive, like as big as this couch, you know, like, but like taller, maybe. It was crazy.
I just remember, I'm not sure if I can say this or not, just remember being laid out like Jesus. Literally, I was like this on the table.
They held him down.
They held me down, literally. They always said, this was the funny thing too, we're going to put a warm blanket on you.
Oh, okay.
And I think that was code for, we're going to now inject the anesthesia. They were really, really monitoring us after we did the surgery.
Yeah.
And they said, you got an option. You can either sit here in the wheelchair and we will wheel you over to your room, or if you want, you can walk over to your room.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, let's take a walk. So
Nice.
that was me, wanting to get recovery.
How long did it take you to get to that point to like where you were walking or felt like you
I
could
think
walk?
that might have been probably after you had left.
So like day 4
Day
maybe?
4, maybe.
Yeah, because I was already walking on day. I don't know if I walked on the first day. I think the first day I was in way too much pain.
Yes.
But day 2 or like early morning or something like that, I was like walking around or tried to. And
This
yeah, and then
comes into my room.
Yep.
And I was like, what the hell? And yeah, you're walking around. I don't think you have any assistance whatsoever. You might have had the belt. I don't remember.
Yeah, the waistband.
Yeah.
Essentially, and I wore that actually for a while, even post surgery or after I left the hospital. Sorry.
Yeah.
Because it did help quite a bit with like the pain and stuff like that too. But yeah, I went in your room and you're just like lying there, like, what the heck?
It was amazing that again thinking this guy's definitely like RoboCop, or if you wanted to go that far. But
Yeah.
you just walked in, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you must not be in any pain at all.
I feel nothing.
It was definitely one of those moments when they said you can either sit in the wheelchair, we'll wheel you back to your recovery room, or you can take a walk.
Yeah.
And walk to your room. And I said, let's take a walk.
Yeah, it is crazy because now, like, when I like see a show or something where somebody like has like an illness and then they're like maybe like had a leg injury and like now they're walking. Now I can definitely relate that. Not like the same level for me, right? But like I couldn't walk for like a day, but still it is crazy to be like, like powerful to be like, yeah, I can walk again. That is insane, and it is a good feeling, like, because I do get that, and like getting those functions back and stuff like that. How was life after you got out of the hospital?
After receiving your kidney, after the transplant and all, myself and Sarah had to stay up close to the hospital. We were pretty much going up every other day for, it was like a 07 check-in pretty much that we had to do. And if our if my levels changed even the slightest, I get an IV of, I think a saline solution. Just to try to bring my level back up.
Yeah.
And the goal was to not have to go through the IVs. But it was still fortunate enough that got to see Dr. Goggins, even after the transplant, and he would look through my, my book and check my levels and stuff.
Apologies, we had some technical issues with the audio, so if it sounds different and there's like a weird cut, that's kind of why.
We had some assistance with her sister, who came all the way up from Florida to help us out, transporting us back and forth from Candlewood Suites to the hospital. We had to be up there. We had to actually be there at the hospital by 07 in the morning.
Yeah.
Just for general check-in, general checkups, to make sure the kidney was still functioning, make sure my body wasn't rejecting the kidney. That was another thing too.
That's for like the rest of your life, right?
Right, it is. It's the tacrolimus. I'm still going to be taking that probably till,
Right.
whenever I'm no longer here on Earth. But leading up to meeting up with Dr. Goggins, the room that we were in was treated like an ER. not really an actual ER, but it had that ER setting. You know, there were other recipients in the room with me, whether it be kidney, whether it be pancreas or liver, heart, any organ. And if there was any notice that their levels may have dropped or some type of an increase, you were put on some type of a solution that helped bring your level down to where it was acceptable.
And was Sarah with you that whole time as
Sarah was
well?
with me.
Right,
Yep.
she took her leave.
Yep.
And you guys were doing that for about a month, you said? I
That was
think?
about a month. Sarah did take time off from her work. Yes, it was a PTO, but it was also unpaid. So that's
okay.
one drawback that we had there. At the time that she was off, they exhausted all of her PTO. But then eventually we were able to graduate from being up there at Indianapolis. We were able to come back home, but we still had to go back up. Therefore, checkups with Dr. Goggins, and even actually also my current kidney doctor, Dr. Yakub. I see him again, I think actually this December. So now it's gone from every other day to twice a month to now 6 months.
Yeah, so that's the difference between your being the recipient and me being the donor. I, pre-operation was when I had to do most appointments, and then afterward, I just had, I think I have one more in the 2-year one, but I only had to do I think a 3-month, a 6-month, and then I just did the 1 year
Okay.
testing, just basically make sure I'm doing okay. And then,
Right.
I think there's still a 2-year one. They recommend, my doctors and stuff like that have told me, they recommend to find a, go to my, a family doctor or something like that, or a regular doctor, and do some tests and just keep up with it once a year or something like that, every now and then be like, hey, look, make sure this is okay.
We'll see what happens after December. If he still wants to see me every, 6 months after that, or what. But again, I'm supposed to go every once a month now to IU Health Bloomington, just for a blood draw and urinalysis.
Yeah.
And then that gets, of course, sent to my transplant coordinator, Alicia Turner, and she, of course, takes that information and gives it to Dr. Yakub. And if they see anything change, with my levels or something, we'll probably have to, change up some of my medicine. When I started, I was taking almost about a good handful of medicines. 15 total. 15 or more, I think, medications that I was taking prior to transplant. Since actually having the transplant last year, in August, I'm only down to maybe 4.
I remember you were talking about you were trying to get back on Veterans Day, but then you didn't return back to work till February 1st.
Yeah.
You said.
February of this year, yeah. My goal was to be back by Veterans Day.
Yeah.
And I was wanting actually to start working there in November.
Yeah.
And I believe that's when HR had told me that, no, you still have this lifting restriction.
You make me remember things just talking about it because it is funny. I had a weight restriction too, and I think it was 15 pounds at first, and then it was 30 later, 15 for the first 8 weeks, and then it was 30 for the after that for the next 4.
Yeah.
But I definitely didn't follow that at all. I don't recommend that, but hey, we had the twins that carry, and I was I can't. They were already weighing 15 pounds at the time, and I was I gotta carry both of them, so it was 30 pounds. Got over it though, and I'm doing okay now.
Yeah.
But so and it was funny because you were talking about how you were trying to get back November, and me, I was no, I'm trying to stay away from work. But I did return eventually. I think it was in December, right after Thanksgiving, because I couldn't stay out of work anymore because it was just my paycheck went down.
Yeah.
Because I was 100% for the first 8, and then to drop down 60. But then they didn't pay for holidays either, and I was oh my god, I got it was one of the paychecks right before I went to work. I only had $200. I was I can't do that.
When I started, I was on short term. And then it went from short term to long term when they actually called and said that we've got a donor. Our donors actually decided to come forward.
Yeah.
And that was June or July. And then we had the successful transplant there in August. And I think after June, July, that's when I went long term. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
went
'cause-
from Heather to Emily Macklin.
Yeah, because that was something we were talking about is, yeah, you were on, I remember, I think that was at the Veterans Day dinner, lunch thing that we had at our job, and you were talking about how you were on long-term now, but you weren't sure, yet how long you had for your leave, and I just find it funny because the way you were expressing it and like talking about it, you were saying like, oh, how, talking to your coordinator, like, how much longer do I have? And they're like, oh, you're good till 2026.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't want to be out till that.
Yeah, I don't
Which
want-
I understand. You were already out for what, like a year before or
It
something
was
like
that year plus 2 months. Yes, I was ready to get back to work there Veterans Day. And the whole thing was, my goal was to get back to Veterans Day, to see you and be amongst the other veterans and be able to pretty much tell the story, to everyone that everyone's talking about, what they did while they were, currently in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, whatever. I was able to stand up and pretty much embarrass Sam
that. He did embarrass me.
by saying, I think that my story will probably top everyone's stories that you currently have here. This veteran here, who actually is a co-worker of mine, donated his kidney to me in August. And
No one really knew if I had donated, because when I came back
Right.
to work, people spread rumors all the time at our job.
They do.
And that's funny. And I purposely make rumors spread or tell people to spread them because I'm just like, whatever. If people want to spread them, I'm going to make it a funny one. But yeah, no, people didn't know why I was gone. I just up and left, and then I came back and they're just like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
So just kind of what we were talking about before, how is your life now post, donation?
I can definitely say, I feel 100% better. This whole journey, there's been times that people have told me that, I just look weak, I look exhausted. I don't look my same, the same way I did prior to all of this.
Yeah. But now he looks 25,
I
everybody.
look 25, thanks.
He is literally half of his age right now.
I turned 50 next month, and
Well, I guess you'll be 26 now, but...
yeah, 26 now, yes. I can legally hunt, again, like I said, in Alaska.
We joke a little bit of how, because I'm like half Filipino, I was like, well, you're part Filipino
Part
now, you got
Filipino
some
now,
in you, and
yes.
it's like, he's a minority, guys.
Yep,
Get different benefits now.
But I can definitely end with saying that, if anyone out there is thinking to donate, at least just try to go and see if you're a match for someone. You don't have to know who the individual is, because there's some out there that, for my point was, or for my case was, I didn't know it was Sam. And when my pre-transplant coordinator said that there is a donor that has come forward, my whole family and myself were like, well, who is it? We want to know who it is. And the coordinator says, Todd, we can't do that due to HIPAA. But we can actually offer you this. The donor you can write a letter to your donor and say, what you'd like to say, on behalf of you as the recipient to your donor. That donor can either take that letter that you have prepared for them and take it and read it, or they can just keep it for themselves, anonymous, and know in their heart that they did something like this to help out someone else to have a second chance in life. And again, like I said, being able to turn 50 next month, I feel great. I'm back to work. I'm actually, I can honestly say that I feel like a new person thanks to Sam and his stepping up to be a donor for me on my behalf. After this 7+ year journey that I was on prior to being on dialysis, being a part of the universal kidney donation list, and again, knowing that there's others out there that that currently have a donor that has donated to them. They don't actually know who their donor is.
If you've never thought about donating, or if you're thinking about donating, look, I encourage you to do so. As a personal donor myself, it is you know, I have a different outlook on stuff, but I understand for some it is a lot more daunting, a lot scarier. But any type of donation is very much welcome. Look, blood donation, plasma donation is still very helpful and very much needed. And there's a lot of people that need that as well. But, you know, living organ, you know, donors are also needed. Or even just put the donor on your, like, organ donor on your driver's license. I know I have. It is unfortunate, like, people just need it, and like there are people as Todd, but as a donor myself, I will say that I have returned just fine. It did take a little bit, but I think the percentage is like 97% success rate. You know, like you'll return to normal, you know, with a kidney donation at least. But I'm aware, you know, of other donations, like liver donations, not so bad either. I've heard some good things about that.
Right.
Or, you know, I don't know what other types of donations are out there. There will be a link as well in the description, so check that out below. I'm doing just fine. I am back and healthy, feel strong as ever. I go run, I hike. I just did Angel's Landing back in July. We went on a family vacation to Zion National Park, and I hiked that thing, felt completely okay, and I've been eating just fine, normal. It's not good for you, and a doctor won't recommend it, but like I still drink every now and then, and I'm fine. Like there's nothing, I don't have any issues or problems. So if you're worried about anything, like everyone's got different medical stuff, I understand that, but just go find out if you're able to, or find out what you're able to do. All right, I very much encourage that because there are people that need it, especially, and you may actually help save someone's life,
Exactly.
if not at least prolong it. Thank you, Todd, again,
Sam.
for
Thank you.
you know, sitting here and sharing your story. I'm sure there's someone out there that's watching this and maybe can sympathize or empathize, and you know, please share comments, share this video with people, friends, family, anyone you know. Just kind of get the story out there. And help encourage other people to donate as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, happy birthday to me and happy anniversary, Todd.
Happy birthday,
So-
Sam. Happy anniversary to us. Yes.
All right.
I would like to do this every year,
Yeah.
to be honest, just for us to catch up and everything. So,
Well, thank you for coming on and sharing your story, and
thank you.
thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. But yeah, we'll see ya. Bye.
Bye.